Okay, this video is going to take you through printing with numbers in Java. And so in this part of the video, it's okay if you just want to observe and take notes. If you want to follow along, then you'll want to open up print practice 4 from what we've done previously and change it to a 5 and then do a save as. And in there, then what we're going to do is we're going to change the code. So what's in the parentheses. So what we want to do is we want it to show have 3 plus 4 in quotation marks. The next print statement have a 3, and the next print statement a 3 plus 4 with no quotation marks. And so 3 plus, oops, I can't do this, 4, a 3 with no quotation marks, and a 3 plus 4 with no quotation marks. So the question here is, if you were to guess what would be printed, what would you say? So what was kind of a fun thing to do is just to see if you can guess what would be printed and then come back and see what actually happens. And so anyway, so we're just going to go ahead and compile it and run it. And so we see, first of all, the first one prints 3 plus 4, and so it's important on your notes then to write down what the answer is. So 3 plus 4 on our notes. So what do each of the following print? So it prints 3 plus 4, but make a rule or generalization, or what's the reason why it prints 3 plus 4? And the main reason here is because 3 plus 4 is part of a string. It's within quotation marks. So because it's in quotation marks, then it's going to literally print 3 space plus space 4. That's why it's called a string literal or a string. And so it's going to print all of that. All right, the next the next one is going to print just 3 because so it prints just 3. Make sure you type that in there or write that in there. So because 3 is a number and it doesn't need quotes to be printed. So Java, it's set up to where Java sees a number, it prints that number if it's not within a string. The next one is it actually does the math. And now the 3 plus 4 is, so it prints 7 because 3 and 4 are numbers and not a part of a string. So the compiler just chooses to then to add those together, and that's why it's a 7. All right, let's pause for a second. Okay, so now let's go to the next part here. The thing that's important to note here is that plus signs in Java will either perform addition or concatenation, and the word con or con means with, and so it's a joining together. So it either adds 2 things together or it concatenates them or joins them together. So in addition, 5 plus 7 is 12, but if it were concatenating or joining them, the 5 plus 7, it would join them together to become 57. So in these next 3 print statements, we have a variety of situations where you have numbers and addition signs and strings as well. And so the thing that is, again, fun is to just try to guess what you think these will print. And then what we'll do is we'll check it out. So if you want to pause the video, guess, then come back, we'll look at it. And so if we go now to our JGrasp and we test it out, so I've got the 3 right here. Oops. We'll have to pause. Okay, I was missing my line comment symbol, so the compiler got mad at me. So here we are, we're ready, we've compiled, and now we're going to run it. And so we see then that it's going to print period 34 for the first one. Well, why is it going to do period 34? Well, here's the thing that would be good for you to write down in your notes, is that the compiler moves from left to right. I gotta pause. I don't know the best way to say this, but the compiler moves from left to right, working with each pair of items. Okay, there's a better way to say that, but I'm not doing too well here. All right, so if you look at this first one, it's going from left to right. Jeez, really? So it's going to go from left to right, and it's working with each pair. So here's period in a string, and here's a plus sign and a 3. So it takes that pair first and evaluates that one. Okay, now we have a string and a 3. Does it make sense to add them or to join them? Well, first of all, you go, well, does it make sense to add them? In order to add two things together, you have to have numbers. Period is a string, not a number. So you can't add a string and a number. 3 plus what? Period. Doesn't make sense. So it doesn't make sense to add. So what it's going to do is it's going to do period, and then with space, it has a space there, and then the 3. So now it's joined them together, the period and the 3. But now you still have the plus 4. So now that's the next thing, is it's moving from left to right. Now you have period 3 and 4. Can you add period 3 and 4 together? Well, period 3 is not a number. It's got text in it and space, and so you can't add the 4 and the period 3. So therefore, it's got to join them together. So here's the period 3, and it just joins that together with the 4. And so now you've got period 4, 34. That's why it becomes 34. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Let's see. The next one we have period, and then plus, a parentheses, a set of parentheses. So just like in math, it's going to deal with the parentheses first. So what you really have is you have period plus, it's actually got a space, plus 3 plus 4 is 7. So you really have period plus 7. Well, so now it's going to look at period plus 7, go, do I add those or do I join them? And so the compiler says, they're not both numbers, so we're just going to join them, period 7. The next one, the compiler is moving from left to right. The first thing it sees, the first two things together there are the 3 and the 4. So it looks at those. What do I do with 3 plus 4? Well, they're both numbers, so I can add them. And so this is 7. And then you have 7 and then plus cats. So the second thing is 7 plus cats. Well, there's cats is not a number, so it prints the 7, and then it joins it together with the space cats, because there's a space within the string. Right? So that's how you get to those guys. Okay, so now the next thing I wanted to do is to practice a problem that involves most of the concepts we've talked about regarding the printing. And so what I need you to do, this would be a good thing for you to try yourself first. And what we want to do is open up printpracticereview.java, which if you don't already have that in your Chapter 1 folder, we did open that once or twice before, but we never did anything with them. So Print Practice Review should be on your computer in your Chapter 1 folder. If it's not, then you can go to Canvas, go to the module from last week, and you'll see printreview.java, Print Practice Review. So open that and do a save as. Make sure that you've done a save as if you had to get it from the module. In here we have, as you'll see, we have 7 print statements. If we were to compile this, what we would end up with is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different lines of code. Alright, so now what we want to do is we want to make the output look like, wrong page. We want the output to look like this. 2 lines of code. 2 lines, I mean. So you have 7 print statements producing 2 lines of output. We want to, using all of our print concepts we've gone through, we want a blank line here. You cannot delete any characters between the quotation marks of the original strings. So here's any of these strings right here. You can't delete anything in between the 2 quotation marks. These, you can't change anything or delete anything. You may add characters between quotation marks. That's okay. You can't delete any print statements. So you can't make it fewer print statements. So that's going to be important. But you can add a print statement if you want. And your output must include everything as displayed up above. All of this stuff needs to be displayed exactly as it appears. So give that a shot. If you want to pause the video and then come back, that'd be good. And then we'll take a look at the solution. And so as we go back, we're going to look at the solution. And so here you go. You've got the first 3 are print statements. Oops. So we wanted to say in math class I was given the following problem, 2 plus 8. So this, and this should all be on one line. And so the way you do that is you got to have print. That will force all those pieces of information to go on one line of code, or one line of the output. This produces the blank line, and you might have done the escape sequence for the blank line, which is perfectly fine. The second line has to be encompassed by everything else. And so we're going to put print, print, and print, so that they all end up on the same line. The last print statement can either be just print or print ln, doesn't matter. But the first three in this section have to be just print. Now there may be other ways to do this, but this is one of the ways that it can be done. So there you have it. That kind of takes all the topics on printing and puts them into one exercise. And so that is all.